What's up, guys? Answer Knows Hoops back today with another video, and today I'm with another episode of, I guess we could call it What Comes Next, where I cover some of the losers of the first and second round, or just of the playoffs in general, and talk about what these teams should be doing going forward. Now, today we are talking about the no longer defending reigning champion Denver Nuggets, who lost, honestly, in a very, very big choke job of a Game 7. Now, the largest deficit comeback in a Game 7 in NBA history has been claimed by the Minnesota Timberwolves, coming back from a down 20-point deficit, in which Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray in the third quarter completely disappeared. And at that point, Minnesota was able to scratch something together and go ahead and win the series. Now, again, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. We're 9 subs away from 800, and we are 200 away from 1K. And today we're going to be talking about what this team does next, and we're honestly going to talk about what we should take away from this series. So Jokic is staying. I'm not even going to waste time on even like, oh, do we trade Jokic? No. He's there until 2027, 2028 with a $62 million player option. He will be there. Jamal Murray is on the last year of his contract going into this season. Now, do they extend him now and make sure he's not going anywhere? Or, if you're Denver, are you hesitant to sign him to something long term? If I'm Denver, I'm probably going to try and sign him now before the contract ends, because if they let the contract expire and he shops around, there's probably some team that's also willing to far overpay him based off of what he did in those playoffs. Like, let's say, for example, Orlando. Perfect example. Orlando goes, hey, Jamal, we'll pay you, I don't know, $38 million a year for 3 to 4 years. Right? Or, $40 million over the next, because, the cap is crazy, but you get my point. Michael Porter Jr. is there until 2026, 2027. And in that final year, he could be making $40 million. You're kind of stuck with him. If I'm the Nuggets, if there's any piece I'm looking to trade right now while I can, it's definitely Michael Porter Jr. Not as a complete slight against him, but it's just, again, we sort of saw it in this series when he wasn't hitting his shot. Quite frankly, there wasn't a whole lot else he was providing. Not defensively, not as a passer. He just wasn't providing a whole lot. You have Aaron Gordon there for the next 2 years because he's definitely taking his $23 million player option. KCP, I had to look this up, is expected to decline his player option, which would mean he is a free agent. However, versus when they let Bruce Brown walk, they do have his bird right, so they can match an offer that is given to KCP. However, again, the question is, if the deal is way too much money, do you let yourself get tied down? Because that is a move that you can do if you're in an opposing team to kind of mess up what that franchise is trying to do. Like, I'm sure, right? Think about it with Phoenix. Phoenix was trying to lowball DeAndre Ayton, and then the Pacers came in and said, we will throw you a bag. And they went, I guess we'll match. And then they traded him in the, with the Dame trade and everything, and things just got weird. Right? But they realized quickly how tied down they were with that money. And that could happen with KCP because it's some team, if the Lakers messed around and threw some crazy offer at him, right? And Denver goes, we could match it, but are we really willing to, tie down our books even more before we pay Jamal? That is where the mind games sort of come in. Now, you still have Peyton Watson, Christian Brown, Zeke Naji. Now, my only issue is, are these young guys actually going to develop to whatever they need to be? Like Christian Brown, I think, is the only young player on this team that's consistently, time after time, sort of shown hey, I can actually stick around here and be a part of this team and be a part of this future. Reggie Jackson is going to definitely take his player option, right? To me, I'm looking to trade Michael Porter Jr., and I'm looking for a backup big immediately. When Jokic came off the floor and Aaron Gordon went to the 5, that was the worst look I think I've seen, because they lose sight of any form of size. Their offense just falls off a cliff. Their defense isn't really that good, even with Aaron Gordon now as the 5. Get a backup big. Throw a first-round pick. Go get Andre Drummond. Get someone solidified as your backup piece. You need to, or this will continue to bite you every time Jokic comes off the floor. Now, what do I take away from this series? Well, first thing is Nikola Jokic is not untouchable. And what I mean by that is it's actually extremely similar to how Giannis was after his championship in 2021, where everyone sort of thought he's a monster. There's no stopping him. He's the best player in the world. He will be the best player in the world for a long stretch, and no one will come close. He lost, funnily enough, in a similar way. I mean, they just got spanked in their game. Basically, reverse the game 7 and the game 6 for the Nuggets and the Bucks. It's the same situation to some extent. So Jokic, I think, showed a couple things. One, his defensive flaw is still extremely exploitable. Extremely exploitable. I don't care what number. You see, now this is why at times you ignore defensive numbers. Because when you watch that series, and even the Lakers series, they just attacked and attacked and attacked Jokic. And half the time, again, me and my buddies have joked about it, it's like you're playing 2K and he's spamming square or X, depending on whatever console you play on. He's just swiping at you when you come at the rim, or he's a fan. He's just like, oh, there goes Anthony Edwards to the rim. Oh, okay, you're just not going to put an arm up or something? Or he'll do it, and he'll go, I ain't really going to get there in time, my bad. And that was definitely part of the reason that this team lost. Because when the offense wasn't going, right? And again, since Jokic's defense is a negative, because again, similar to who I believe what people did with Giannis's shooting after winning a championship, people try to then go, oh, well, Jokic is actually an average to whatever. No. I think at best, you could argue he's average. I think realistically, he's a below average defender. He's just not a good defender. He's not. I'm sorry. I don't care what numbers tell you. He's not a good defender. Now, the other issue is Jokic has always been like this. The passiveness, I think, hurt him this series too. In the fourth quarter, within the last 2 minutes, and there was a 6 to 7 point game, Cat has 5 fouls. Rudy has fouled out. Jokic goes to pass to Jamal Murray or something. Attack Cat. He's most likely going to foul you. Whether it's by his intention or it's going to look like it, then there would be zero big that's going to cause you any problem. But then he gets passive. Right? And in his getting passive, that is part of the reason they choked. That is where I think Jokic, if you have Jokic 1, by the way, this is not me trying to say he shouldn't be anymore. I just think the very short run of Jokic is by far the best in the world. I think, for me at least, that's dead to me. Now, unless he goes on another, championship run next season or something, sure, you got it. But as of right now, I think this era of he's by far the best in the world, I don't think so. I don't think there is a by far best player in the world. I personally have Giannis number 1. I don't think he's by far the best in the world. I think for me, it's those two names. And maybe, hell, I ain't going to lie. If Luka beats the Timberwolves, we might need to have a talk about that. But I think this era of Jokic by far being number 1 or whatever we thought it was going to be, I think we're in an era of parity and everything where I don't think there is necessarily going to be a undisputed number 1 for a long stretch. Now, the other thing, if you're the Nuggets and what you're taking away, you go as far as Jamal Murray goes. I'm going to be completely honest. Now, that sounds bad because obviously Jokic is their best player. This is not me saying he's not. But when we look at this playoffs and just this series in general, for example, in the 3 games that they won in this series, Jamal Murray was 50 from the field, 42 from 3, and 100 from the line, giving you 26 and 2 steals and 3 boards. However, and you would be like, Emser, that sounds awesome. It is awesome. But then you look at the whole series. in which Jamal Murray is 40% from the field, 33% from 3 on 6 a game, giving me 18 points, 4 assists, and 4 boards, but also still giving me 3 turnovers, right? Not playing very well. And then these playoffs as a whole, right? He's giving you 21 a game, but again, when it's on 40-32 splits, I'm not moved. I think this shows that when Jamal Murray is not like he was in these previous playoffs or in, even like the bubble playoffs, it doesn't look the same. This offense does not look the same. I think them losing Bruce Brown hurt them. I think this team is still really good, and they're one of the best teams in the West, and that you can still say they're your favorites to come out the West next year or whatever. But I think this definitely showed that their weaknesses exist. The only issue is one, they don't necessarily have the free agents that they would want to try and go out and get. And 2, you got to pay Jamal, so now your money's going to be tied down in those 3 dudes. And if Jamal plays like he did, even in the middle, like let's say he was in between what he was last year and this year. So he was like good, not great. That can get them past this Timberwolves team or whatever, but they can still lose. I think this team is definitely beatable. I think every team is beatable in the league right now. I just think it's one of those things. What can Denver do to try and capitalize on the time they do have with Jokic? Because again, I mean, people joke about it, whatever. Like Jokic isn't, like basketball isn't everything for Jokic. So for him, he could be like, I'm done after this contract. I just made, $200 million. I'm done. I'm chilling. I'm going back to Serbia, which is fine. Right? Giannis could do the same shit when his contract ends. I'm going back to Greece. Or, I'm going to live with my family. I got my money. We're good. We got a ring for the franchise. I'm probably going to be a Hall of Famer for his ballot. See you guys later. So they got to capitalize while they still have Jokic. And to be honest, I think they do that by trading MPJ, extending Jamal Murray, keeping KCP, and going for a backup big. I think their wings and all that, it is what it is with their wings. You got to try and get a backup big. You got to have someone for when those Jokic minutes, he gets off, pause, that someone suitable is there. So let me know what you guys think down below. Do you agree with my assessment of Jokic and how he isn't just this undisputed number 1 in the world now? Do you think that the Nuggets should be doing my plan of trading Michael Porter? And how much money do you think they'll give to Jamal Murray? And if they do give Jamal Murray money, do you think it will tie them down for basically this entire era of the Jokic era of the Nuggets? And that could very well damn them as much as it does help. Let me know what you guys think down below. This was M. Hoops. Have a beautiful rest of your day, guys. Peace out.